going on, all you wonderful A-plusers out there? It is I, Stuart, here once again to give you guys another Kamen Rider Saber review. This time going to be talking about episode 21. So guys, let's get started. The episode starts with what was originally implied, but we can now say for sure is canon. We see that Tassel is more than just a narrator. He's also a character within the story, as he and Yuri have an in-continuity interaction. Now, what I mean by an in-continuity interaction, we have seen the two of them interacting before. However, it was never really clarified whether or not those interactions between the two of them were like actually going on within the story of itself, or if it was just kind of like a side thing kind of going on between the two of them that wasn't really canon to the story. If I don't even know if I'm making sense here. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I wasn't even really sure if Tassel himself actually existed within Kamen Rider Saber, or if he existed in his own world where he was telling the story of Kamen Rider Saber. But here we do get like the actual confirmation that he does exist within that world, as he and Yuri do have an interaction. Yuri demands the return of his book that he claims contains his entire story, and Tassel goes looking for it, implying that he lost it even though he claims he knows where it's at. We then get a really cool backstory on Tetsudo. We see that he comes from a long line of blacksmiths who believe in an ancient prophecy. When one who is destined to stroke the fire of the holy blade forged by human hands appears, a holy blade with the power to connect the stars and lead this tale to its conclusion will be born. That was me trying to do my narration voice. I know it wasn't really good. We then get a really cool illustration on the origins of these sort of logos, and while it doesn't really reveal anything that new, the visuals are definitely really cool to look at. Basically, the Sword of Darkness and Light were forged to fight off evil, and the Sword of Logos were formed to gather the pages lost in the conflict. We then get an awesome reveal that the blade from the prophecy earlier was the blade made from the Sword of Light and Darkness, and it might be the blade that Tomah wields, which would imply that Tomah was the one in Tetsudo's prophecy. Tomah and May then find out that more people have started to go missing. Meanwhile, Rika continues to tell the other riders that Tomah has to be stopped immediately, as Tetsudo volunteers to bring him in, with Ogami following him shortly afterwards. As the two confront Tomah, Tomah begs them once again to fight by his side, but Tetsudo tells Tomah before he can make any decisions, he must ask Tomah's sword why Tomah was the one chosen by his sword. The only way, of course, for him to get that answer is through combat. The beginning of the fight consists of Tomah pulling his punches, causing him to get his ass kicked. However, Tomah eventually reaches within and fully feels the Eye of the Tiger. This causes Tomah's sword to light in a way that none of the riders have ever seen, giving Tomah the strength to disarm Tetsudo. Tetsudo, being impressed by Tomah's spark, leaves the Sword of Logos to fight alongside with Tomah, as he now believes Tomah is the warrior from his family's prophecy. While Ogami doesn't follow him as well, he does respect Tetsudo's decision and refuses to stop him, knowing that the two of them are for sure fighting on the same side. Tomah eventually does face the monster of the week, but being really fatigued from the fight, and this being a very powerful monster, Tomah gets his ass handed to him before this monster finally eats him. This monster is a weird one, as it's able to basically eat anything in its sight, and even if it's like much bigger than him. Luckily, Yuri shows up soon afterwards to save the day, along with his new power-up that he received from Tassel, which gives him the appearance of the hero from a comic book that we see him consistently reading throughout the series. So this is something I kind of found funny about this. He gets a power-up given to him by the narrator of the story. I mean, does it get any more Deus Ex Machina than that? I think that's like the most Deus Ex Machina thing you could possibly do while writing a story. This fight actually does have some really cool choreography, along with some awesome looking comic book graphics to go alongside of it. I really hope that we get to see more of this if he uses that power up in later episodes as well. Yuri eventually frees Tomah before finishing off the monster, and Tetsudo reveals to Tomah that he has chosen to fight alongside with him. This was overall a really cool episode. Not only was the fight between Tetsudo and Tomah like really amazing, but of course the battle at the end with the monster of the week was entertaining as well, especially with the new comic book graphics. It was really cool seeing some more interaction with Tassel and Yuri, and this time having it being confirmed to actually be part of the story's continuity. And not to mention, like I've been complaining about with the other writers not fighting side by side with Tomah for so long, it is a relief to finally have one of the writers join Tomah at the end of the episode. Do I wish it happened earlier? Yeah, but am I glad that it's finally happening? Definitely, for sure. And yes, I do think that this is an interesting pattern that they might be going down. If they do one writer joining him at a time, I could see this leading to, you know, by the end of the next 10 episodes, maybe we finally get most of the writers on Tomah's side. I mean, obviously, the show has kind of gone out of its way to say that it's going to be a major challenge for both Ren and for Rintaro to really turn their back on the Sword of Logos, since they're both really young, and not to mention in Rintaro's case, he's been raised by the Sword of Logos his whole life. But eventually I do think they will come through and fight alongside with Tomah. But guys, those are just my A+ opinions overall. What did you guys think of the episode? Definitely let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and also don't forget that we now have a Patreon. So if you guys want to help support our channel in other ways, definitely hit that link below and check out our Patreon. We got 3 different tiers that you can look at. We got a $1 tier, a $5 tier, and a $10 tier if you really want to help us. But honestly, even if you can't donate to our Patreon, just watching our videos and subscribing to our channel is a huge help. But guys, above all, just remember to keep it A+.